Hello. Welcome to another installment of the Central American Group's podcast, in which experts discuss topics related to doing business in Costa Rica, El Salvador, and the rest of the region.
Hello, welcome to another installation of the continuing series of Central American Group podcasts. We speak with people that are experts in various fields related to doing business in Central America. Today, we're speaking with Jorge Sequeira, and he's the director of Cinde. Cinde is the well-known economic development promotion group of Costa Rica. Hello, Jorge. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay, Steve. It's great talking to you.
Could you give us a little bit of a background on yourself and your organization, please?
Sure, I'd be glad to. So, yes, I am the managing director at Cinde. Cinde is Costa Rica's investment promotion agency. We have been doing this for almost 40 years now. We're a private, nonprofit organization declared of public interest since 1984. And so we are a public-private partnership. We work together with the Ministry of Foreign Trade and Costa Rica's Export Promotion Agency, to develop policies and to develop strategies to attract foreign direct investment into Costa Rica. We work with strategic sectors such as the life sciences, information technology, advanced manufacturing, and centers of excellence sectors. Those are some of our key sectors, and we have been very successful over the years, having attracted over 300 multinational companies into Costa Rica that today generate 120,000 direct employees and approximately 60,000 indirect employees in all these different strategic sectors.
Well, we're in very challenging times, Jorge, and our understanding is that Costa Rica has done a very good job in containing the pandemic, but the first case of COVID was diagnosed on March 6th in Costa Rica. The country has 10 registered deaths right now and over almost 1,100 confirmed cases of the novel coronavirus. This is the country, Costa Rica, with the lowest mortality rate. I believe it's under 1%. How has Costa Rica made this possible?
Well, it's a combination of factors, Steve. You would have to go back in history about 7 years when Costa Rica abolished the army by constitution, the first country in the world to do so. And we took that money and invested it in education and in healthcare. We have invested in our people, which, by the way, that's the reason so many companies are here, because of our education, because of our talent. But we're talking about health here today in your question. And so we have developed one of the best universal healthcare systems in the world. In fact, it's been ranked as one of the top 5 best universal healthcare systems in the world. We have what we call the EBAIs, which are these small health centers that are distributed throughout all the communities in our country that become sort of antennas to detect any potential surge of the virus in different parts of the country. And so the health authorities can act immediately to go and prevent that and to immediately quarantine those people and the people surrounding them so that they don't become contagious for other people or other neighbors or other people at work or in other endeavors. So together with an electronic system that was developed by our centralized universal healthcare institution, La Caja Costarricense de Seguro Social, which again is one of the few in the world that can say that almost 100% of the population is all included in this electronic healthcare system where you can go to any hospital or clinic or one of these small EBAIs in the country, and the people there would have access to your clinical record through that electronic system. So it's a combination of factors that have helped Costa Rica have these great results so far in terms of containing the virus. I would have to add to that also recognize that the people of Costa Rica have responded to the healthcare authorities' call, for social distancing. And we, for example, in our sector, we have been able to send service companies home to work from home in a matter of 1, 2, or 3 days. 98% of personnel were working from home, avoiding, of course, contact, at work with their workmates. So, I think it's a number of things that have happened that we've done right to have those great results so far.
This has been a problem all over the world, obviously, but during the outbreak, how have multinational companies that are operating in Costa Rica managed to have continuity in their business operations?
So that's a really good question, Steve, because it was a challenge. Almost overnight, we had to send, literally hundreds of thousands of people to work from home. You have companies here doing very, very critical operations in cybersecurity, in data analytics, in finance, in HR, that are mission critical, and some of them have very, very confidential information of the companies or their customers. And supposedly most of these jobs could not be done from home. Well, it turns out that in 1, 2, or 3 days, like I said before, 98% of these positions were working from home. So it could be done. And that was thanks to a very robust communications, internet infrastructure here in Costa Rica. The fact that most of these people have connectivity from home, that they have the conditions at home to provide those services, that they had the equipment, laptops or desktops, whatever the case might be, that they could deliver that service right from their own homes. And then in the manufacturing side, we had to work very hard. We put together work groups, public-private work groups, to address the different issues in, logistics, for example, in understanding the new decrees that were implemented almost daily by the government, with new rules and regulations of how this could be done and how we could continue work. But the fact of the matter, Steve, is that we were able to have, practically 100% business continuity to all our customers and all the multinationals operating here in Costa Rica. And that has helped actually Costa Rica, attract processes, both manufacturing and service processes, from faraway places such as, Manila and Mumbai, or closer places such as Mexico, El Salvador, or Colombia, in countries where they had much more trouble in, keeping that, business continuity going. And we were able to actually pick up on those processes and help those multinational companies, have, globally speaking, continuity for their customers. So I think that it has been a very nice success story in terms of the resilience that we have been able to show, for the companies to continue operating during this pandemic.
It's commonly believed that it's very important during quote unquote down times like this, or challenging times like this, to do marketing. So how have Cinde, your organization, worked during the pandemic to continue promoting foreign direct investment in Costa Rica?
Well, first and foremost, we understood that our number 1, number 2, and number 3 priority at that time was taking care of our customers. We put all our energy, everybody, all the investment promotion people, all the marketing people, everybody, we were all behind our current customers, making sure they could continue doing business, they can continue operating flawlessly. And that's what really we concentrated, all our efforts during the first month or two. Once we passed that, initial stage, and we sort of had this new normal of all these companies operating from home, and the manufacturing companies with all their logistics issues resolved, and everybody, operating normally, we were able at that point to start looking then into the future. Of course, there is a world after COVID. And, we started looking at picking up, from we had left off in the past, with a value proposition, which is based on 3 pillars: people, planet, and prosperity. And we believe that value proposition to be more valid than ever today. And when we add to that the resiliency that we were able to prove to the world that we talked about a few minutes ago, I think we have a very, very strong value proposition. and statement to make for companies that are looking to relocate closer to home, in this case to the North American market. Those companies looking to nearshore, those companies looking for the China plus one strategy. Costa Rica absolutely has to be in that top list of candidate countries where they can bring their operations, be them manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, life sciences, or of course services, particularly IT and centers of excellence where we have excelled.
Looking forward, in a post-pandemic world, what are the next steps for Costa Rica, and how do you plan to continue creating and offering more business opportunities for people that might want to invest in Costa Rica?
So the key factor here is talent. Costa Rica doesn't have a large internal market. We don't have oil or any minerals. The reason companies come to Costa Rica is because of our talent. We talked about that earlier in this interview, of how Costa Rica invested in developing its talent by education since many, many decades ago. So, our strategy has to continue to be, developing that talent, that bilingual talent that multinational companies are looking for. Post-COVID, companies are going to look, like we said, like I said before, they're going to be looking to be closer to home. They want to have cultural affinity. They want to be able to be one flight away from their operations. And Costa Rica offers all of that, together with a very, very strong and proven rule of law, respect to the rule of law. We have an excellent free trade zone regime that offers zero tax, up to zero tax, income tax, and all kinds of taxes exemptions, for companies operating here out of Costa Rica. And together with the free trade agreements that we have with 2/3 of the world's GDP, including most of the Americas, obviously the United States, Mexico, Canada, Europe, Korea, China, and many, many other countries, it's a perfect place for companies to come and do business. But we understand that to do that, we have to be a competitive nation. We have to develop the talent. We have to have the right connectivity. We have to have electricity, that's redundant, high quality, and at competitive cost. And those are the areas in which we're working today.
One thing that was a very positive and impressive development for Costa Rica is that last month it became a member of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD. You've become the 38th member, and joining this group is a clear acknowledgement that Costa Rica meets world standards that are demanding for foreign direct investment. Can you please tell us more about these very positive events that have occurred for Costa Rica in the recent past?
Yes, we're very proud to become the 38th member of the OECD. As you know, it's a very select group of member states that are committed to world-class public policies for the benefit of their citizens. So this was a long process. It took us about 8 years to get here. We had to go through 22 rigorous committee evaluations. We had to pass through Congress many laws, in order to comply with those strict demands and those strict standards that the OECD sets for its member states. But the best is just yet to come, because now we will be measured against the best in the world. So in any areas, be it education, be it infrastructure, be it statistics, in any area, we will now be measuring ourselves against the best standards. And that means that Costa Rica will be, and already has been over the last 8 years, on that track towards those, world-class public policies in all areas, including, of course, all the business areas. So, for us, being a member of the OECD is sort of a certification of a country that has, become one of those top countries in the world in terms of responsibility, and it gives companies the confidence that they can come here and do business with a country that respects intellectual property, that respects human rights, that has the rule of law, and that basically that they can feel safe doing business here in the most wide, wider meaning of the word safe here in Costa Rica. So I think that this will really help in our effort of attracting more foreign direct investment, because companies will be, again, feeling more comfortable, safer in doing business in an OECD member country.
Well, I know we've only scratched the surface here, and we could speak about Costa Rica and its benefits and its offerings for foreign direct investors. But because we have limited time and because we have an inquisitive audience that often has questions that are follow-up to what's been discussed, how would people that would want to ask you something about Costa Rica get in contact with you?
Well, I think the easiest way would be simply to write at our info@cinde.org. That would be info@cinde.org. And we'd be glad to reply to any questions people might have.
Sometimes we also, in the transcript of the discussion that appears on the webpage where this is published, we often have a link to individuals that have spoken with us to their LinkedIn pages. Would it be okay to put a link to your LinkedIn page and perhaps people could learn a little bit more about you?
Of course, no problem.
All right, I want to thank you for taking the time this morning, and I want to wish you a lot of luck in terms of your activities and great success for Costa Rica.
Thank you. And Steve, I've been corrected actually. The correct address would be invest@cinde.org. Sorry about that.
Okay, well, invest@cinde.org it is, and we hope that we get a lot of questions from people that are interested in doing business in your country directed in your inbox.
Well, we'll be glad to answer their questions and to see them in Costa Rica.
Thank you very much, and have a great day. And again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Steve. Take care.
Thank you for listening. Sign up to receive the Central American Group's quarterly newsletter by visiting www.thecentralamericangroup.com.